Hello there and welcome. This is Tuesday the 13th of May 2025. Optional Memorial of Our Lady of Fatima. Of course, celebration everywhere into the Roman Catholic Church as far as Our Lady is concerned. A recent inside our school here on this day, ZML TV, that we bring to you to talk about something pertinent as far as our schools are concerned. We shall be taking you to our Catholic schools to talk about the common promotion exams which is ongoing in different Catholic colleges across the Diocese of Buea, which actually commenced today, involving from 1, 2, 3, 4 and of course lower seats. We shall get to know more about the common promotion exam, why it is referred to as the common promotion exam, and of course get more insight as far as feedback from our schools are concerned. With me, these are they joined by one of the workers as far as the Education Secretariat is concerned, administrative assistant as far as the office of the Education Secretary is concerned, talking about Mr. Musong Gerard. Good evening. Another pleasure for us to discuss issues within the education as far as the Diocese of Buea is concerned.
Good evening, Mr. Hilarion, and thank you for having me. And thank you for always being faithful to the program and hosting the program. So I appreciate you for that.
We shall be talking about the common promotion exams. Let's just get to know from you, what is the common promotion exams all about?
Actually, the common promotion exam is the exam that the Secretariat organizes and looks for people to do the setting of that particular exams. When the setting is done, now the moderation is done, and after the moderation, now the proofreading is done, whereby every student in Form 1 in the Diocese of Buea writes the same thing. That's why it is common. All the schools that we have in the Diocese of Buea are writing the same exam for each of the subjects that each of the schools offer.
Okay. Now you have just talked about organized by the Education Secretariat, set by the Education Secretariat, moderation, and of course proofreading. Let's get more.
Yes, it's not actually set by the Education Secretariat. What the Secretariat does is actually to handpick some
selected teachers.
Yes, some selected teachers in the field who do the setting, and after that a group of other teachers are called now to come and do the moderation, and another group of teachers are called to come and do the proofreading before now the exams are being compiled and forwarded to the printing press.
Let's get to know the difference between moderation and proofreading.
Yes, moderation and proofreading, when the exams are set, those who are coming for the moderation, they are coming to see if those who did the setting actually followed the standards that they were asked to follow. If they actually respected the schemes of work as the government gives it, because we have to follow the schemes of work given by the government, and also the progression sheet. All those things are always being put into consideration in such fashion that if the moderators come and the person who did the setting didn't follow some of these things, now that is when they will say, no, this one should be removed, this one should be added, and then you do some 1 or 2 editing. Now when those who come for the proofreading, when they come, they have to check carefully to see that things are not wrongly spelled, to make sure that the letterhead of the Secretariat is well put, to endeavor that this paper is paper 1, not paper 1 named as paper 2. All those other things are always being put into consideration when they are doing proofreading.
So generally, which means if as the Diocese of Buea has 13 colleges, in all of these 13 colleges, if we are supposed to say Ripacol is writing maths this morning, that should be whatever is being written in Spicotech.
Exactly. And they follow the same timetable, because the Secretariat comes up with a timetable that is being followed now by all the schools. So if you go to Muyuka, if you go to Mount Carmel, if you go to CUIB, Jos Peters, Enriqueta, A Lady of Lourdes, St. Pius, all those schools, St. Anne and the rest, Bishop Rogan, Sase, all those schools are writing the same thing at the same time.
Now, this morning we had to take a camera to get into some of these academic institutions, and of course it was there that we had to get information as far as the writing is concerned. First, let's meet the academic dean of Mount Carmel College, who will be telling us about the stake as far as the exams in that college is concerned.
Mr. Ngumba Richmond, Academic Dean of Mount Carmel College, Moya. We started with the common promotion examination for Form 1 to 4 and lower seats today. And for the general start, it went on well. Most of the invigilators were here on time, and the students too were here on time since we run both boarding and day. Although we had slight late comers for the day students, about 3 or 5 minutes. We actually started the exam at exactly 7:30. So there were some late comers, but for the general attendance, all the students are present for the exam. For the standard of the exam and to check if the students are going to meet up, we meticulously followed up to make sure that the teachers covered at least 90% of the syllabus. So we're quite sure and hoping that the students will be up to the task to take on this examination. We're going to be finding out from them when the first paper finishes to see how it is. And from the various checks that I've actually done from the various scripts, it shows that the exam is up to standard and they're well printed, although we have some little issues with maybe some pages not clear that much, but generally I would say it is okay. All the questions were well packaged and sent to us. And for the sitting positions, to make sure that the exam runs smoothly, we have mixed Form 1 and 2 since they have a similar time schedule. And then Form 3s will be sitting in their own class, while Form 4s and lower seats will be mixed together. And then my advice to the students who are embarking on this exam is that they make sure they read everything that have been taught with respect to the syllabus, not just the third term work and not just what they love to read, but they have to try and cover every part of the syllabus.
That is the academic dean of Our Lady of Mount Carmel College in Munya. I'm talking about Mr. Richmond Ngumba. Of course, he was transferred from Christ the King College Tico to Mount Carmel in double capacity academic dean and vice principal. Mr. Gerard, that is one of the feedback from one of the colleges. Gerard, Mr. Richmond bringing out the feedback. What do you make out?
Yes, I heard him saying that he advised, his advice to the student is to read what all that was taught, which is very, very good, and not to read what you know.
Yeah, know what you like.
What you like to read, exactly. Because students have that temptation of always reading.
I don't like this topic.
Yeah, I don't like this topic, and therefore I'm not going to read it. I'll go and read the topic that I'm familiar with or that I know well. And that's the mistake most students normally make, because actually for you to know means that you read what you do not know in order to know. So if you read what you already know or what you are familiar with,
Yes,
I don't think that will be knowledge. I don't think that will be knowledge, because I remember, for instance, in school I used to love cast topography, but believe you me, I never knew what cast topography was until university, when I knew what it means for rain to be to be driven from a rock and then forming a particular. In fact, that's the truth. That's the truth. Students mostly read what they know and what they like and what is easier for them to grasp.
One of the points he made mention was the seating structure as far as the students are concerned, from 1, from 2, from 3 down the class, and then from 4 and lower 6.
Yes.
What do you make up?
No, it's actually a temptation for students to always, when they sit together, there will be that temptation for A to whisper to B that can I get an answer to this part, especially the MCQs that we have now. You can easily look at someone like this and then
the person signals
something for like A, and then when you go to question 1, you can even use your hand, because you have 4 options.
Yeah.
A, B, C, and D. So the person can literally give you all the answers for the MCQs in particular. before the other one. So the sitting position for me was perfect, whereby you put students, Form 1 students in this particular space, and then you mix them up now with people from a different class, so that you won't be able to whisper to the next person. And if you have to, you'll be whispering to the person who is not even in your class. So that sitting position for me is the best.
Aside Mount Carmel College, Munya, there is also, we made a stop at St. Joseph College, Sase. We shall be getting to talk with the second academic dean. She will be telling us exactly the situation as far as the exam in that college is concerned.
From St. Joseph's College, Sase. This morning, we began the common promotion examinations for Form 1 to 4 and lower seat students. It started well, as the seating plan was put up well ahead of time to get the students acquainted with their halls. Equally, we had their names pasted on the different classrooms to help them understand how they're supposed to sit, in order to at least minimize examination malpractice. We decided to mix the students in different halls. Like, for example, we have different halls hosting Form 1 and Form 2 students, like in 4 different halls, and then Form 3 students and the Form 4 lower seat students being mixed, at least to in a bid to curb examination malpractice. The exams all started well. They wrote the first session very well, and the boys were so composed this morning. We're proud of them, as it started well. The invigilators were also there in time to ensure that the supervision is carried out effectively. So in all, it's going on well. We are on the 3rd session now, and it just commenced, which is still going on well. For the challenges that we are facing in terms of questions, we had some shortages for some classes, and the only way we could salvage that was to photocopy some of the questions and add for the students who were lacking. So that was solved, especially for classes like Form 4 that are large and Form 1. So that was solved. We also have issues with the printing, the organization of the layout of the questions. Some of the questions had a lot of issues, as they are upside down. There have been a lot of challenges trying to arrange.
Okay, that was the second academic dean of St. Joseph College, Sase. Of course, bringing out some points as far as the exam situation is concerned. Mr. Gerard, you followed keenly, and of course, she confirmed the sitting position which we were just talking about, bringing out the issue of examination malpractice, and of course, for them, it was very, very well structured. The halls were well specified for the students, all the names labeled, as in, you know that I'm supposed to be in this class.
Yeah.
So,
yes, I was moved by what she mentioned about the invigilators who were actually there to follow up. You know, as the academic dean, she won't be able to do everything by herself. And so the invigilators, as she mentioned, were there to follow up, to see that students have the paper at the right time, and to also see that students find themselves composed, rather than struggling to look left and right, front and back, to see if I can steal an answer from a friend or so. Because that actually should be the work of the invigilators, who should be very, very vigilant in the exam hall, looking to see who wants to fidget. Because if students, before they want to fidget, they will always give something like a signal to the next person that I need your help in this particular aspect. And if you give it to them, if you give that atmosphere where they know fully well that they cannot turn left or right, they will be able not to compose themselves and think. It's all about thinking. It's not that they do not know. They actually have the idea. All they need to do now is to sit down and reason it out, and they will be able to write something that will give them a pass mark.
now, she also made mention as far as the situation in Sase is concerned. She talked about such strategies as far as exams are concerned. How far is the secretariat working on this from feedback from different schools?
Yes, as far as the strategies are concerned, we are sorry for that particular aspect, but so far we have worked to minimize because these are mistakes that normally come. So it came with the counting. So, and I'm sure the counting was not meant for for
the
SASE.
school, but
it
it
was
was
surely
labeled
meant for someone
other
else,
school and
but
labeled
SASE.
Okay.
So all the papers were printed and they are in order. It's just that particular mix-up that happened, and they have to do some photocopies.
Okay.
Apart from that, I think all the other questions are intact in all the schools.
Now, let's gauge. This is a tradition. How often is this tradition practiced? Common promotion.
Yes, it has been the tradition of the Diocese of Boya before it was abandoned sometime in 2017 when the crisis was that hot. And I think last academic year we brought it back. We brought back the tradition of all the schools in the Diocese of Boya writing the common promotion exams. So this should be our second year, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And then we hope that it has come to stay.
Just as a Catholic mock.
Just like the Catholic mock, because we've written the Catholic mock for some time now. So just last month, the Form 5 and the upper seats had their common mock, and the same processes were followed.
Okay. So now, we shall be also want to find out from you, as far as the common promotion exams is concerned, 13 colleges so far, the feedback from what is the feedback the Secretariat is getting?
As at now, the Secretariat is having everything from the schools. We are having positive remarks from the school, actually, because the papers came in time. All the papers were in schools by Saturday, by Saturday evening. So the academic deans had the ample time to either check this or check that to see what is lagging, what they need, and so on and so forth. So the feedback is a positive one that we have received from the field as compared to last year.
You made mention of the setting, moderation, and of course proofreading.
Yes.
What about the marking?
The marking now will be done by the teachers who are in the field, and because the mark guides are already with the school, so we have done the mark guides were also moderated and proofread, so the schools have the mark guides. So immediately they finish any subject, those teachers who are concerned now will start marking immediately.
So there is no
we do not have a common
marking,
and again there's no time for that to be organized and the rest. So a lot is being put into consideration.
I'm sure we're already counting few weeks to the end of this academic year.
Yes, we
are. Now, how long is this common examination going to?
We started today, and we hope that by Saturday we'll be done.
Okay.
We'll be done with this common promotion exam. So, which will give the teachers now ample time to sit and mark, because the papers will definitely be many. There will be many papers for the teachers to mark. So they need that time now to actually sit and mark accordingly.
Now, let's also talk about as far as this situation is concerned. We have at least from now to a few weeks to the end of the academic year.
Yeah.
And of course, we are trying to balance up with time. Should the Education Secretariat not be thinking about the situation of balancing with time and the examination starting early or earlier enough to give this time?
No, when you actually look at the situation, you realize that the candidates who are going in for the public exams, they will also need time for themselves to prepare.
Okay.
So those who are in Form 1 to Form 4 and lower seat will have to give way now for the upper seat students and Form 5 to gather themselves, to put themselves in the spirit of that competition that they have to write these public exams. So, and that is why the time has to be managed as such, so that when they are done, now they give way. And I think most schools are writing within this time frame. Okay. We are not the only ones.
Now, rewarding excellence, is that a specified something as far as this examination is concerned? Maybe like the best student rewarded at the level of the Secretariat or the education family? Yeah,
if you notice, during the celebration, during the confirmation and the catedraticum that schools had last Saturday, some students were recognized. Even some teachers were recognized. So definitely anyone who distinguishes himself or herself from the rest will definitely be recognized.
Okay. Bringing us now to confirmation. Before we dive into confirmation, today is just as well a common promotion, the common entrance examination for primary schools. Cali schools are taking in as far as this situation is concerned.
Yes.
Positive feedback from these various schools.
Yes, the schools, from the feedback, you can always get from the pupils when they are done writing. You see them smiling. I wrote well. Nobody is regretting that I gave an A to an answer that was supposed to be a B, and so on and so forth. So you can literally get the feedback now from the pupils immediately after the paper. Are they smiling? Are they frowning? What's their attitude towards the paper immediately after that? So far we've had a positive feedback from the pupils who wrote the common entrance first phase today.
Now, we shall be diving as far as this topic is concerned. We shall be taking you to talk about the confirmation and cathedraticum as far as this year is concerned for the education family. Talking about schools, colleges, primary schools as well, that converge every year to support the pastoral work of their proprietor, His Lordship Michael Abibi. Aside that, not just His Lordship Michael Abibi, whoever is the bishop, it is a tradition for the education family to at least gather every year to support the pastoral works of their proprietor, the bishop. Just to mention that supporting the bishop is to help him run the diocese, and the Diocese of Buea has 13 colleges. Aside the 13 colleges, there are schools that are being run in Moyoka, Ikata, Bafia. These schools are just run as far as these kinds of support, these gestures, benevolence from the peoples, from the students, from the teachers are concerned. So let's get into our machines now. We shall be getting to get exactly the cathedraticum for this year, as the students, peoples, and as well the staffs were able to raise over 6 million CFA francs to support the pastoral works of the bishop. Details in this report. The set amount is thanks to the generosity of these learners drafted from both the basic and secondary sectors of diocesan academic institutions. All the schools answered present at the Divine Mercy Cathedral to support the pastoral works of their proprietor, His Lordship Michael Bibi, the Bishop of Buea. All these thanks to the efforts put in place by the Education Secretariat, headed by Reverend Father Vincent Mesue as the Education Secretary.
And is doing it with a sum of 600,000 francs. New elementary, we have 150,800.
The financial and material support for the pastoral works of the bishop is known as cathedraticum in the church's doctrine.
It has been a tradition in our diocese, encouraged for the past 2 or 3 years, that the schools, they also come up with their own support as far as the pastoral life of the diocese is concerned. The cathedral is a chair of the bishop, and the cathedraticum is the support that the people of God give to the bishop in order to enable the bishop to carry on his pastoral ministry. And it is a good idea that even though as a diocese during the Chrism Mass we also have the cathedraticum that is done at that Mass, that the students too, together with their teachers and their parents, they have a day that they too come and say, Papa Bishop, we thank God for giving you to us. We are giving you our support in order to help you to continue to carry on with the works of evangelization that has been entrusted to your care.
The more than 30 primary schools and 13 colleges in total raised over 6 million CFA francs to support the bishop for the 2025 cathedraticum, a gift which Bishop Michael Bibi says will go a long way in financing pending projects in the diocese.
Third year that the education family, under the direction of the education secretary, they are always having a special cathedraticum during the Mass for confirmation in order to support the bishop in his pastoral work. I appreciate the generosity of the students, the generosity of the parents, the generosity of the staff, the sacrifices that they make in order to see to it that they give the assistance that is needed as far as my pastoral ministry is concerned. And the last cathedraticum, as you know, we dedicated it to paying off, the work that we have done at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral. This contribution, no doubt, will go to help to assist us so that we should completely finish the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral, a place of worship that all of us, staff, students, parents, will always come to worship God there.
Worthy to note, Cathedraticum for Catholic schools has always been a tradition of the education family in which they gather to support their proprietor, the bishop. That is a Cathedraticum for this year, Mr. Gerard, and of course you were there live and direct. You saw the atmosphere, you read the amount. Over 6 million CFA francs was given to the bishop to support his pastoral ministry. Tell us more about this.
Yes, I was impressed that such an amount was raised because we did mobilization months ago. So we had we talked with the principals and we encouraged them to start talking about the Cathedraticum even last academic year, so that it should be like, let the children know how to give to their proprietor.
The attitude of giving.
Yes, that attitude of giving should be instilled in the kids, the pupils, students, and even the personnel who are working in these schools. So it should be like a song that should be, they should sing that song every time and then in school about Cathedraticum. And if I were the one, I'll start mobilizing today for the next year. Yeah. So that the 6 million should be
at least 12
tripled, even quintupled. It's a possibility. Because if someone starts today keeping 100 francs every month or what, before that time comes, you must have raised even 10,000 and above. So you bring it forth and you put together. So we say, no, my Lord Bishop, we are here to support you. So this is the amount. 1 million won't be enough for a school. We can come out with 2 million if we start mobilizing today. Yes, Sase did come with 1 million and the rest. So if we start the mobilization like today, before the next year, we must have raised even 17 million. It's a possibility.
What do you make out? The bishop has, of course, directed the funds again for projects in the diocese.
Yes, it is his discretion because we are giving him the money now in order to support him to do whatsoever he wants to do for the diocese. It is for his pastoral ministry, pastoral activity. So if he has decided now to dedicate the money now to the completion of the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral Church, it's still a plus to us, the Catholics who are to come there and enjoy all the beauty and the holiness of the Co-Cathedral.
I was tempted to think that you will be saying that the bishop should direct to renovating one of the schools or maybe constructing a school somewhere.
That's still a possibility, but if he has decided to do so, I cannot be giving him money and asking him to use it to do this. No, let him decide on what he wants to do with the money.
Okay.
It's my gift. It's a gift that I've given.
It is a gift. Okay, I get now. Yes. So within that Eucharistic celebration, there was also the sacraments of confirmation, sacraments of confirmation in which more than 543 candidates received the sacraments of confirmation, thereby completing the stage of initiation into the Christian life. We shall be also getting details as far as this confirmation is concerned in the following report. Saturday, May 10, 2025, learners from various diocesan academic institutions and other faith-based schools gathered at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral with their proprietor, His Lordship Michael Bibi, Bishop of Buea. The main purpose of this Eucharistic gathering was the administration of the sacrament of confirmation. A total of 543 candidates approached the altar, kneeling before the bishop, the chief shepherd, using chrism oil as the matter for this sacrament. The bishop empowered them with the words, "Be sealed with the gifts of the Holy Spirit," as the form.
Oh, till I be the bread of
In an interview with His Lordship Michael Bibi, the proprietor of these 13 colleges, he encouraged the confirmandees to seize every opportunity to grow in their faith.
The different candidates prepared in the different schools in the diocese to the total of 543 were confirmed today. I think the sacrament of confirmation that they have received today is going to strengthen them by the gifts of the Holy Spirit and also make them to be witnesses to the gospel message that they have received. My prayer and wish for them today is that while in school, they should continue to take their spiritual life seriously. They should use every opportunity to grow in their faith, and even when they are on holidays, to make sure that they continue to be shining examples of the gospel message wherever they find themselves.
Among the 543 candidates who received this sacrament were students from Seka Baptist College in Limbe, thereby highlighting the inclusion of the church as emphasized by the Education Secretary, Reverend Father Vincent Mesue.
Had other schools other than our schools participating in the sacrament of confirmation and catedraticum. And I think that we are starting this actually very late, but this year we have decided to begin, because what we have noticed is that we have many of our Catholic children who are also in other schools, and we cannot neglect their faith. And we also see that some of these schools have chaplains appointed by the bishop, priests who are working with those children in those schools. So if our schools have any sacrament that they are celebrating, these children too should be attended to. And so that is why you see today, the confirmation of today included other students from other schools who are not members of our diocesan schools, but also taking part in this confirmation, and as well as the catedraticum, knowing that you have other ships who are in other places, and we all have to come together as a family to continue to celebrate together as a family.
With the sacrament of confirmation empowering the confirmandees, the students were delighted to have fully received the sacrament of initiation.
Zora Ebane, I'm from Seka Baptist College, Limbe, and I feel very happy to be here today. The entire Seka community is very happy to have their students joining the Catholic diocese today. We are diocese to receive the confirmation, and it's actually our very first time to be part of this celebration, for the very first time for Seka to join this kind of celebration. And I believe and I know, because being a member of the part of those who collect the sacrament of confirmation, we are very happy and we are very proud, because not just because our school is a Baptist school and they just focus on Baptist. We are happy because we are able to follow our various religions, which is the Catholic religion, and we know that we are so happy that we have finally reached among the last stage of filling our card, and we are proud of ourselves.
The students who received the sacrament of confirmation are now set to continue proclaiming the good news in their respective academic institutions. Of course, they have the duty to continue proclaiming the good news. That is the theme of the Diocese 75th anniversary. Proclaim the good news, for I am with you always. Mr. Gerard, 543 candidates receiving the sacrament of confirmation for this year. What do you make up?
Yes, I was very, very impressed by the number, and it was a great thing for the diocese to have received or to have given this confirmation now to this number of students, because that confirmation is like a seal to the sacraments that initiate you to
Christian life.
To the Christian life. So it was a great day. I enjoyed myself trying to put one or two things together, and we thank God for strength.
Now, confirmation at the level of schools. The pastoral plan or the pastoral office's doctrine is 3 years for the students to receive, or catechumens to receive First Holy Communion, baptism, and confirmation.
Yes.
Catholic school is just a period of a year.
Now, if you notice with the Catholic school, you realize that maybe some of those people who are having the doctrine for the 3 years are not having religious studies as a course in school.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I believe. But with the Catholic schools, you have religious studies. You study the religious studies in Form 1 and Form 2. When you come now to Form 3, you study the religious studies and write a Catholic religious studies examination.
Okay.
And a certificate is being issued to you. So everywhere, left and right, you meet Catholicism in the compound.
I'm sure they.
So you are used to the Catholicism to the extent that, come what me, a year is even too much for you to receive the
just
sacrament.
last week or some weeks back, they were engaged with the Catholic certificate examination.
Exactly.
Coordinated by Reverend Father Peter Falling
From Bamenda.
as the registrar.
Yes.
So this is just a boost.
So yeah, like I was saying, you realize that those who are in our system, they have the Catholicism, they have the doctrine up and down. Every day they have the celebration of Mass, and in the celebration of Mass, doctrines are taught to the children by the chaplains. Everywhere is doctrine. Even those who are teaching, they teach in the spirit of doctrine. So for me, those who are already in school, they have a different formation than those who are out of our schools.
We have a comment here before we continue. Good evening, panelists. It is an interesting program you have there concerning inside our schools. More grace. That is just the comments that is coming in. I'm sure it's coming from one of our teachers or so. I will not want to comment on. The person has not disclosed his or her identity.
Okay.
So it's just a comment on an interesting program. Now, back to the confirmation and cathedratical. Within the context of that confirmation, there were students from Seka Baptist College, Bulu Blind, and other schools.
Yes.
This is the level of inclusion.
Yes. This year was a different year. The Education Secretary mentioned we had students from Seka Baptist College in Limbe. We also had a student from Bulu Blind. So it's for everyone. It is not just for the Catholics who are in Catholic schools. So like the chaplain of St. Anne is also the chaplain of Seka Baptist College. So he definitely followed these students and gave them necessary catechesis and doctrines that they need in order for them now to receive the sacraments. And I'm sure there are other schools that we have not yet ventured into. And with Catholic Christians, which I think with time we are going to have more schools who are joining now for the confirmation. And a student came from Bulu Blind, that's Boya School of the Deaf. Yeah. It was amazing to meet that child. It was amazing to meet that child. So it actually shows now the level of inclusiveness that the diocese has.
Which means now at this level we should be thinking that schools like the Presbyterian Gay schools, the bishop will be thinking of appointing chaplains to work in that school, because there are also Catholics there who are schooling there as well. Which the Baptist High School here in Buea as well.
Exactly. So I think that with time the proprietor is going to do that. And if you notice, there is a school in Lime, St. Leticia has always been faithful to training students for this particular confirmation every year. The other time we had it in Christ the King Parish, Chico, the students were there from primary. So it's a diocesan something. It's not just about the colleges. It's also about the primary and the rest.
Okay. Now, let's just talk rapidly as far as this confirmation is concerned. 500 and something catechumens. The bishop called on them to continue to grow in their faith. What is it? What do you make out from them? What it would be your own flesh or other advice with this?
Now, normally there is a trend when some of these persons come and receive the sacrament, they go and go. Yes, they just go and go.
And some just partake as far as they're under the Catholic system.
Exactly, just to have the sacraments.
After that, they don't even follow up.
Exactly, let it be written that I have this in my baptismal card and the rest. If they can continue to be faithful to their morning masses and their Sunday masses as they used to be before, when they were attending the doctrine for those sacraments, it's going to help them in their spiritual life. Because you cannot be spiritual when you are not in the congregation. You have to find yourself now with the people who are having the same spirituality, who are building the same lifestyle with you. So you have to be a member of that society. You cannot tell me that now that I have baptism, I have communion, I have confirmation, I'll go and remain at home. You have to be coming often to the community that gathers to pray together.
Now, we have come to the end of Inside Our Schools on this special day. Inside Our School is that special program that we bring to you, talking about happenings within our Catholic colleges. And of course, it is always on Tuesday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. that we bring to you highlights as far as happenings within our schools is concerned. We have been able to touch about the Catholic Common Promotion exams for Catholic colleges. And of course, we have talked about the common entrance examinations, which is ongoing at level of primary schools, with Catholic primary schools inclusive as well. And then we talked about the cathedraticum and confirmation for this year, 2025. 543 catechumens received the sacrament of confirmation. And of course, more than 6 million, over 6 million silver francs raised to support the pastoral works of the bishop, the proprietor of these schools. It has been a pleasure having you, Mr. Gerard, from the Education Secretary, for us to dissect this topic.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hilarion, for having me. It's always a pleasure coming for our program because I work with schools, so often I'll be coming.
Thank you very much, and of course for making that pledge. Often you will be coming. Dear viewers, we have come to the end of this program. It is yet for another rendezvous next week when we meet again. We shall be talking about things within school. I was Hilarion Clinton. It is a bye-bye. Stay tuned to DMR TV.